Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Now I'm here to answer any questions you children may have about the monorail.
Me! Can it outrun the Flash?
You bet.
Can Superman outrun the Flash?
Sure, why not?
It's the Al Travis Show. Lucky to have our next guest on. We've had him on once or twice before. Always a pleasure. Kendall Qualls. Kendall, how are you, sir?
I'm well, Al. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here. And is it a Good Friday? Is it a happy Good Friday? What is and it was Merry Christmas. Is it Good Friday?
Yeah, it is a Good Friday because we know what happens on Sunday. So yeah.
There you absolutely. So a Good Friday to you and yours. Family all well?
They're doing great. Thank you for asking.
Fantastic. We're having you on. You wrote a very interesting and I think pointed article on the Min Post, an opinion piece. I want to get to it, but before we do, if you don't mind, because in the piece it hit me. You had mentioned that as Minneapolis goes, I'm paraphrasing, as Minneapolis goes, that's how Minnesota goes. You've got to have a good Minneapolis if you're going to have a good Minnesota. Didn't you say something like that in that article?
Absolutely. You can't be a great state with a lousy city.
Okay. So here, and when I read, I'm like, okay, yeah, but you're going to have a lot of work to do there. But then the story came out this morning, and you probably haven't heard it. It's on CCO Radio at Tesla's. Minneapolis police chief are detailing what they know about a string of vandalized Tesla vehicles in the last few months. 6 of them were keyed downtown Minneapolis. They got all the video cameras on the rest. Here's what got me about it. Minneapolis police chief, Mr. O'Hara, says, while we can't speculate on the motive in this case, he does seem it's a nationwide problem. Sir, if we can't, I am a knucklehead radio guy in southern Minnesota. These people hate Musk, they hate Trump, and they're going to take it out on these cars. Is it any harder than that? What do you mean you can't if you can't name the problem, you can't fix it? Am I lying?
Well, you're not lying. And this is why, if we're going to see changes in our state and back to common sense, it's going to have to start at the governor's seat all the way down.
Well, fair enough. When I read that, and then literally this morning's story was like, well, we can't tell you why I can tell you exactly why they're doing it, sir. I'm not a rocket science. And if you can't name the problem, you can't. Now, you name it as walls. And that's kind of what your opinion piece was on the Min Post. It basically, walls. Governor Walz' vanity tour is about helping himself and not Minnesotans. This program, and I'll lead you with this, and you tell me how wrong I am. When he started going to Iowa and Wisconsin, down to Nebraska, whatever, it's like, okay, he can surely put his toe in the water. I don't have a problem. He has a right to do it. I think the idea that he won't declare whether he's running for governor or not is also a great defensive move in his part. All these people what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We don't know until the governor decides. He has personally stalled all of this to find out what's best for him. That's pretty political. I guess I'm not ripping him for it. Some of the stuff he says is knuckleheady, but okay. Your thoughts on, you think there's more to this Walz tour?
Yeah, so a couple of things. In my comment about, what's happening, like with the keying and slashing of Tesla vehicles and just the overall malaise that we have in downtown. When people will say, well, how can that be Walz's fault? This is an issue of leadership. The character at the top reflects the character at every place else. When you have adults in the room and say, this is the tenor of the attitude we're going to have and all of these different things, it filters down. Every organization has that, and you see it. If in private companies, you see it on sports teams, everything. So that's what I mean by the governor's.
Well, and I was talking this over with 2 other senators last week. You were in the service, correct? I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
And as what? Can I get your rank and that sort of thing?
Yep. I was the captain in the artillery, so I was working on big guns.
All right. I was a former reserver back in the day. Now it's different today. But here is my point. You tell me how wrong I am. As a captain, you'd go off the artillery, and was it reserves full time? Were you regular?
I was active duty.
All right. Well, I was a reservist. We'd go spend 2 weeks at Fort McCoy or up here, Ripley. You spend 2 weeks. You get done. All the sergeants would go back. All the captains would go back. And you know what? You'd write down what went well and what did not. You called it an after actions report.
Exactly.
Al would say, you know what the problem was? No one brought any biffies up. You know what we did? We're a bunch of guys pooing in the woods. We can't do this. Who's in charge of biffies? And you realize somebody forgot something. So you'd write it in the after action so you would not have it anymore. You would fix that issue so it doesn't prolong.
Right.
Your leadership thing, this, I know you're going to back me on this. The problem we have in Minnesota, even though the governor was Sergeant Fur Cloud, whatever he was, there is no after actions. The people that are stealing us blind with the child daycare, there's a loophole. You just had to send a name in and you could get paid. Mark that down on the calendar. Guess what? Now you're feeding our futures. Well, you don't have to do anything but write down names and they'll send you a check. We didn't fix the problem. And that's the leadership, I think. Am I wrong in this? How do you get that into government?
That's the guy. This is called accountability. This is called leadership.
Yeah.
You know what? When the first person goes to jail, that helps. But here's the issue. We have auditors in our state government. We have oversight. We have a lot of people not doing their jobs, and they're wasting taxpayers' money that can ill afford to throw their money in the wind like that. And so when we look at this, what's happening in our state, which used to be one of the most well-run states, best quality of life, and even in Minneapolis, Forbes magazine rated the best quality of life, safest city of all cities in the country back in October 2009.
Yeah,
we can get that back. And again, it starts with leadership.
Well, you wrote this op-ed on him, so I'm going to presume you have an idea in this. Why he was an Army guy? Why this lack of leadership? Is it I don't care? Is there some nefarious reason behind it? I would use, you talk about it, somebody goes to jail. As soon as some of these Feeding Our Futures people got told you're going to jail, the governor came out and said, well, it's about time. I've been really trying to get these guys full time. I'm glad as all get up, but I should mention, he says, no one in the state government was even charged with anything. Well, your guy's in charge of checking that out. Well, I mean, have we decided everybody in the state of Minnesota was cleaning, their hands are clean here? The person who wrote a check for more people in Bloomington than actually live in Bloomington were getting lunches. Is no one going to look into that? That's what my buddies and I look about.
And so you and artillery, you know this. If someone fires an artillery round and it goes where it shouldn't go, even if the commander is not on site, he's relieved of duty because there's a sense of an accountability. If something goes wrong, there should be someone accountable. And
that is so funny.
We have a government where no one's accountable.
We were at Ripley one time, and we were calling fire, and a round fell. It must have been 2 clicks short. Literally came over our head. You heard it. No, you're not. You won't hear the one that hits you, so we were safe enough. But it goes off, and within seconds, Ripley was closed down. The world stopped. Every human that had any kind of shiny stuff on his shoulder was racing out to figure out what happened. Some knucklehead didn't put enough powder in the bag. I get it. But that because someone was going to get in trouble. That's young right. Kid, whoever checked it, it stops. But we don't have that in Minnesota. We don't stop it. We have a guy who said, well, no one in Minnesota got in trouble. I'm glad the bad guys. Well, how do you not make it harder to steal from us? I mean, isn't that the next step?
No, that is the next step. Again, you want people to have confidence in your leadership, even when something goes wrong. No one's perfect. Yeah. You know what? We don't expect anyone to be perfect. But at the end of the day, to your point, after action, here's what went wrong. We had gaps here. I'm relieving the person that should have taken care of this, or we're bringing in someone else. Yeah. That's basic 101 leadership.
But we have none of that going on in the state of Minnesota. I got to go to break. When we come back, if you got 2 minutes, sir, what I'd like to ask is, he seems to be using that as his talking points on this world tour. He needs to figure out what went wrong and why they lost in 2024. But he doesn't seem to care to do that same internal look here in Minnesota. We'll talk about it. I got him, Kendall Qualls. He wrote a great article. If you want to look at it, it's free. Min Post, Governor Walz vanity tours about helping himself and out of Minnesotans. That's what we're talking about today.
All the special interests are represented in St. Paul. But who speaks for you? Center of the American Experiment does. Our policy fellows dig into the tough issues that matter to you and offer common sense solutions on education, taxes, crime, and energy. American Experiment is the trusted, nonpartisan voice of Minnesotans like you. We are working every day to make Minnesota a better, safer, more prosperous place. We are American Experiment. Go to americanexperiment.org to learn more.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS-SHOW.
We've got him, Kendall Qualls, on the program talking about Governor Walls, his road trip out there running for president. I don't know what he's doing, but it doesn't really matter. A couple of things, sir. He says he's trying to figure out what went wrong for 2024, little after actions. I can't disqualify that, but he's doing that out there while Minnesota's having all these problems. You got to first take care of home first before you worry about the rest. Am I wrong?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you've got I would call it a leaky bucket, a sinking boat, and you want to go find out what about everyone else's boat.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he's doing these tours without inviting the 51% of the people that voted against him.
Yep. You're not invited to the party. Yeah. You're listening to your own. But let me ask you this, sir, because I don't mean to question you harshly here, but he did come out and said that most of you mega guys, he could beat you up. No, I presume when you heard that, you got a little shaky in your boots. And then he said it's because you're scared of his masculinity. Any of this hold true for you? How scared of you are of the governor's masculinity?
And see, this is one of the reasons why he lost. First of all, no one's intimidated. And
if you say it, it isn't intimidating. Once you have, once you say it, you've lost all your power.
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't, when I look in the dictionary and look up masculinity, I don't even think he's nowhere near the definition page. There's no pictures of Tim Walton.
I don't know where you get to. You've got to be in such a closed room that you're sitting there with Governor Newsom talking about your manliness. Okay, fine. What do we do from here? I guess the question is, like start of Monday. Monday's latest thing was in Minnesota schools, Minnesota 2-year and 4-year community colleges, like up to 15% of the kids are ghost kids. They're just signing up, they're getting the money, and then they're not actually there. They're signing up for a massive number of classes. I don't hear the governor talking about it. I don't have the governor coming out here saying what's going on with the AG. Let me go check into that sort of thing. Did he do something wrong? I don't know if he did or not. But who is stepping up?
Right. I don't get it. A lot of people believe that he's going to run again. I don't believe it. I think the Democratic Party is going to Joe Biden him.
Okay.
Because I think he's damaged good. He's wounded. And the thought of losing, power in the governorship is they want that more than anything. So I think they'll find him a cushy job somewhere. But regardless, it doesn't matter. They're not going to backtrack from their policies. Mm-hmm. What most Minnesotans want, and I think, regardless of their party, they want to thrive economically. They don't want to just survive; They want to thrive. They want safe communities, and they want great schools for their kids. Those three are universal, and those three are not being supported by the Democratic Party.
Well, you study this because you're all about the game here. Between the Senate now, the U.S. Senate seats that open, they could open up a House seat for Craig's seat beyond the governor, whether he's in or out or doesn't. Or they said, and all the statewide offices are now going to be open. Who's in? Can you tell me who you think is going to be the nominee for the Democrats?
I don't. Although I think Angie Craig has positioned herself well to set herself up to be the nominee on the Senate side, but the governorship on their side, it's a jump ball.
Yeah. So then, that being said, because it's still a jump ball there, and I thoroughly because we have yet to get a statewide winner in Minnesota for 150 years. We don't have. I'm just being honest. We don't have that bench. Who are the top 5 guys? I don't know if we have that. I don't know if we're going to wait for the session to get over, and then maybe some of these senators will come out. I have no idea. But it seems weird to me this far out when you've got to raise money and you got to make a difference that we don't have people signing up. We just don't have people declaring. Right. And that's problematic for me.
Right. Here's the issue we have now. I now share this as a guy who grew up in a Democrat family, lifelong voters of the Democrats. They used to vary their votes. They were pragmatic. These Bill Clinton Democrats I've never even for some of these state senators that come out and want to be a centrist as a governor on the Democrat side, they have a voting record where they all vote the same. Yeah. Every far left issue, it's the uniblock in the House, the Senate, all the way up to the Supreme Court. It almost seems that they vote as the uniblock.
So, but what does one do if Minnesota is as purple as they say? This would have to be the year to prove it, right? And say we're just not going to continue to have the same Democrats reading the same offices that lead us down the same road that leads us to our declining education and all the other things you talked about. When do people stand up?
They've cornered themselves because right now the state is poised for a Republican, and I'm not a certain kind of Republican if we get the right message with the right messenger on the top of the ticket, the Republican Party can have a sweep up and down the ballot. But we need to target our customers, if you will, are those swing voters I call Bill Clinton Democrats, not the Hillary Clinton Democrats, but the pragmatic ones. They're looking for something reasonable.
Fair enough. I always love having you on, sir. I'm completely out of time. I love having you on. You ever got anything do you want to announce or tell anybody? You let me know and we'll get you on the program. Fair enough?
I sure will. Al,
in the meantime, people can follow you at Kendall Qualls. I got it here. KendallQualls.com.
KendallQualls.com. They can follow me there.
I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Al. Take care.
All right, folks. We got much more coming up right after this.